What is up, YouTube? I am Eric and you are watching Retro Video Game Pickups. Today we're going to be talking about the 15 games that need to be on the Game Boy Classic Edition. So if you like games, consoles, or product reviews, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell notification. With that being said, let's hop into it. Nintendo has released the NES Classic Edition and the SNES Classic Edition the last two holiday seasons, and there's rumors whether or not the Nintendo 64 Classic Edition or the Game Boy Classic Edition has coming to light this year for this holiday season. Well, I've already done my Nintendo 64 15 games list for the Classic Edition, and that's up above. I'll leave a card for it. But today in this video, we're going to be talking about the 15 games that the Game Boy Classic Edition needs to have. And so, I've got some cool games that need to be here, but also a little bit of things that I would like to see with the Game Boy Classic Edition. We're going to start with that and then we'll move into the games. Now, some of the games I have with me, I have about 10 or 12 of them, but then a few of them I just couldn't find, whether they're packed away in boxes or whatever. They're all great games, and I want to say that these are all really fun games that if you have a Game Boy and you don't have these games, you definitely need to check them out. But before we get into that, I want to talk about the design of what the Game Boy Classic needs. So I've got a few ideas, and as you can see here, I have the Game Boy DMG right here, and behind them I have some Game Boy Pockets that have been reshelled. Now, I would really like to see the Game Boy DMG in the size of a Game Boy Pocket. Now, I know with the classics, they've been going smaller, so I would like to see them in this form factor, but in this size, because I think the Pocket is way better for that, and I really enjoy the Pocket, so I definitely think it needs to be that size, maybe a little bit smaller or something like that. Hopefully it is not this big and this thick, because the batteries in this thing weigh this thing down. Hopefully we can get a game cartridge slot. If not, that's not going to be a big deal, but I would like to see a smaller version of this in the classics, because we've seen smaller versions on the NES and the SNES as well. With that being said, we're just gonna hop through this list and hopefully show you guys what I think of the Game Boy and what games need to be on the Game Boy Classic. Okay, so my first game on this list is Operation C, which is a Contra-like game. This is a really fun game, and I really want to see this on the system, because being able to take Contra on the go with a Game Boy Classic would be really cool, and this would be a really good game to see on the list. Next, I have Megaman, and again, Megaman on the go. It's obviously, this is a fun game, but I want it to be on the console, because it would be so awesome to really get this and be able to take it wherever I go, and have it in a smaller form factor would even be better. Next is Kid Icarus. Now, I couldn't find my cartridge for some reason. I'm assuming it's still packed away because I moved rooms recently. I moved into this game room because it's a little bit bigger. I was using it as a music room, but now it is fully dedicated to my games, and that's really awesome. So I'm still looking for that game, but Kid Icarus is definitely a fun game that I could see on this system, and I definitely think it needs to be on the system. With Smash Brothers bringing back Ice Climbers, I think we need to bring back Kid Icarus for the Game Boy Classic. My next one is Donkey Kong Land, and if you've played a Donkey Kong game, you know what this is about. This is a bunch of fun, and everybody loves Donkey Kong, so I definitely think a Donkey Kong game needs to be on the system, whether it's original Donkey Kong or Donkey Kong Land. I think Donkey Kong Land should be on it, in my opinion, but that's more for me. So next is a game that I absolutely love on the NES, but having it on the portable Game Boy is one thing that really stood out to me, and I played this a ton, and it's definitely got to be Dr. Mario. This is a really fun game, and honestly, I am absolutely in love with types of games like this, so this is a no-brainer for me. Next we have a very special game. As you guys could probably tell, I am a big fan of games in this series, and that is obviously is going to be Kirby's Dreamland, because Dreamland 1 and 2 on the Game Boy are super good games, and if you have not played this, I definitely think you need to pick it up. But Kirby's Dreamland is really awesome. Now, the next game I have is a Japanese cartridge, because I don't actually have the American version, but that's okay. Wario Land, and I think this is Wario Land 3 if I'm correct. This is such a fun game. I have so much fun with this. I have about 4 or 5 Japanese games, and this is one of them that I definitely always pop in. Now the next few I have cartridges, and I think they're still in boxes like I was saying, but starting off, we're going to go with Metroid 2 Return of Samus, because that is a game that is a spiritual successor to Metroid, and only came out on this system until recently for the 3DS. They remade it, but I think that's a game that really needs to be on this console, because it's definitely such a great game, and everyone loves Metroid games, so why not have one on the Game Boy Classic Edition? The next game is one that I actually do not have, but I am seeking after, and that's Gargoyles Quest. Now, to be honest, I have played this in ROMs. I've never actually played the cartridge, but this is such a fun game, and it seems to be somewhat of a liked game for the Game Boy itself, so I definitely think it needs to be on the system. Now, my next game is a very fun game that I saw about 2 years ago and knew I had to have it, and that's why I picked it up. But Balloon Kid on the Game Boy is such a fun game. If you've never played this, it is actually really fun, and finding it boxed for me was something that I was very shocked to find it boxed, but when I did, I knew I had to have it. Now the next one is Zelda Link's Awakening. Now we all know that this is a great game on this system. Now for some reason I've lost it over the years, and so I don't really know where it is. Maybe it's in one of my boxes, but I haven't seen it in a while, so I'm kind of bummed out about that. But I definitely think Zelda Link's Awakening needs to be on the Game Boy Classic for sure. Now this next one, if you're a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan, you definitely gotta be excited about that, and that is Fall of the Foot Clan, which is another great game for the Game Boy, and this is just something that I think needs to be on there, because there are a lot of those people that are Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fans, and this is a great game for that. Now the next one, it was hard to determine if it's going to be 1 or 2, but for me, I played number 1 way more, just because I had it when I was younger, but that is definitely Super Mario Land. And to be honest, this is probably one of my favorite Super Mario games, because I have that nostalgia factor, but also such a good game. I've played this game so many times over and over, and when I was a kid, I got this in a Game Boy Pocket, and I had so much fun until I got the next game, which even made it better. So that was a really good game, but I spent way more time on this, and that is Pokemon Blue. Now, everyone knows that Pokemon is a huge game for the Game Boy, and we all know one of them is going to be on the Game Boy Classic. Now, I picked Blue because Blue was actually the first Pokemon that I played. I played Red and Yellow later on, but Pokemon Blue is such a fun game, and that's why I know that this is going to be on the Game Boy Classic. So, last but not least, and you guys can probably guess what this game is, because if you played the Game Boy, you may not have played any other of these games, but you've definitely played this one, And this was a monumental game when it came out, and it's still a game that just keeps people addicted. Now, most of the time whenever I go on vacation, I take some sort of Game Boy with me, if it's a Pocket, or a Game Boy Advanced SP, or a Game Boy Advanced, or a Color, whatever it is. Every time I take one of those with me, it is always including Tetris, because I can put this game in and play it for hours and still have so much fun. And I think that's why Tetris is going to be a must-have for the system. Now, if it does not have Tetris, I'm going to be a little let down, to be honest. But Tetris is one of those games I think must be on it. Okay, so those were my 15 games that I think need to be on the Game Boy Classic Edition. Just comment below and let me know what you guys think about this. If you think that Nintendo's going to make a Game Boy Classic Edition or a Nintendo 64 Classic Edition, comment that below and let me know. Also, let me know what games you think should be on this list that I have excluded, and what games you think won't be on this list. With that being said, don't forget about that Facebook, that Twitter, that Instagram, the Patreon, and the Big Cartel. All that stuff is in the description below. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification. But most of all, have a good day.